Good afternoon. The time now is 1:00 p.m. It is Tuesday, November 30th, Wednesday, November 30th, and I'm calling to order the meeting of the Health, Education, and Welfare Budget Committee hearing. If you will stand, I will ask Robert Huff, Representative Huff, for our invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and hour. We thank you for the things you've been doing in our life, Lord. I pray that you guide and direct us today as we make a decision for the tribe, and give us a good day and be with her right today. And that's all in Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Hello, Robert Huff. We will now have the roll call by April Lindsay, Legislative Clerk.
Mary Crawford.
Lega.
Joyce Steer.
Lega.
Leonard Gouge.
Here.
Robert Huff.
Present.
Anna Marshall.
Present.
Madam Chair, you got 5 present and 0 absent.
5 present and 0 absent. 0 constitutes a quorum. All business conducted will be official. We have no approval of minutes for today. Our first order of business is human resources. If someone from that office will come down to the podium. Good afternoon. Is it on?
It's on now. I'm Sandy Suter. I'm standing in for Josh Janisek, who's out on medical leave. First thing I wanted to propose on the salary plan, Schedule A. Everything will remain the same, except we would like to add a HR generalist. HR has a total of 9 employees, and 1 employee is devoted to health and college benefits, which leaves us with 8, which has remained the same for the last 10 to 15 years. We're asking for this employee be on the staff because employees have doubled over that time period. The generalist will aid in personnel duties such as summer youth, benefits during and after open enrollment, and the generalist will act as a floater. We're asking for $52,728, and the fringe will also go up $23,068. And that's the only changes. On the budget request worksheet, nothing has changed except for adding the employee in the fringe, but money has been moved around due to we are doing additional training. So we have moved money around to cover that training. Right now, we have implicated a new safety skills. They have over 1,000 modules in training. We have implicated 7 of those trainings. We have added a second day of orientation, which includes training and a tour of the facilities, as well as the council house and Loop Squared. There's no more changes to that budget, but we have a special appropriated budget for employee award incentives. It has remained at $10,000 for the last 10 years. And with the prices and the amount of honorees that we have each year, we are asking for an additional $5,000.
Ms. Suter, how many employees do you have?
We have 9, and one of those employees actually is the benefits for health and for the college benefits. So our benefits are actually taking care of about 2,500 employees, and we only have 2. So we're asking for the generalists to be able to help them, especially during open enrollment.
Thank you. Are there questions for Ms. Suter from the committee? Are there questions from the representatives in attendance or online?
Madam Chair, Speaker Lowe.
Yes, Speaker, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Suter, when you have HR employees helping the College of Muskogee Nations, that's what you said?
Benefits.
The benefits wise. So why wouldn't they be able to fund their own benefits coordinator if they're their own entity with the board and own funding?
I'm not sure
It was
about that.
never addressed?
We kept the benefits, and then when health moved back over, we kept the benefits with them as well.
Thank you. And just one last question. Does health not have their own HR?
They have their own HR, but we are their benefits as well.
So mainly it's all benefits and there's only one benefit coordinator?
We have 2.
Okay. All right.
And they handle all 2,500.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker. Are there other questions from council in attendance or online? We have a question from Representative Marshall.
Yes, I have a question. On the recruitment line, you've got $27,000. So exactly what does your recruitment comprise of?
That is the job fairs that we put in last year. I think Speaker Lowe had asked for that, for the job career fairs around the nation. We had 3 last year. We're already getting ready to have 2 regular job fairs, and we're working on getting a college career fair going, because we provide career development for the nation employees as well, and we're trying to promote all the colleges and promote employees to go to school and get their educations completed.
Does that recruitment include all the independent agencies and
Yes.
everything, or just?
Yes, we ask everybody to come. We even go out to the communities as well and let them, if they have any recruitment. We also invite Staffing Solutions in as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Marshall. Are there other questions from the committee? Hearing no other questions.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the human resources budget.
We have a motion on the floor for approval of this budget, human resources. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Representative Huff. Roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Leonard Gouge,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. Your budget is approved. Thank you. Next is Veterans Affairs.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Committee.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wind.
Thank you for seeing us, and again, thank you for all you have done for us. Go ahead. Okay. Well, some of the things that, in addition to what we had last year, we have made some changes. We've got some requests. I'll start with our Schedule A, our proposed salary plan also. I'm asking for a raise for my operations officer. She has not only been our benefits coordinator, but she has also had a large hand in our activities, our women's veteran seminars. She works with the honor guard. She keeps my schedule. She does our POs. She helps with the budget. She's just everything that we need to do to help, and she's really just underpaid. Um, the other thing is we're asking for a new employee. We're asking for an office assistant that can help her, that can answer the phone, that will also be able to do things such as copying and the typing and even helping with the POs and so forth. We really desperately need an assistant to help her. Those are really the only changes I made. The chief came back after I proposed my schedule and put in for a raise for my position, but he was the one that done that. I just know he's one that proposed that, but we do need those two. If you got any questions on either one of those positions, hers or the assistants.
So the only change you don't have is the Veterans Affairs Executive Officer?
I beg your pardon?
That's the only change you don't have?
Yes, yes it is. Yeah, he's basically at his highest pay scale right now, and on that. But yes, ma'am, that's the only thing we have at the moment for that. I really need to be able to bring an assistant on and really be able and need to, like I said, with all the noted duties that Ms. Riddle has taken over the last year, I really feel, that I need to, budget-wise, I was trying to keep it within where we would stay. We wouldn't be asking for too much.
Thank you, sir. Are there questions from the committee for Mr. Wind?
I have one.
Representative Marshall?
Hi, Mr. Wynn.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate all the work that you and your staff do for our veterans. One of the questions that I have, and I don't know if anybody here can answer my question, I see where you have a salary range from and a to, and it appears that a lot of your people are paid outside that range. So my question is, do those positions need to be reclassified?
Yes, ma'am, that could be. We have, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, that's something that probably need to get with HR on and do that. Probably need to do that, but.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Thank
Yes.
you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Marshall.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Gouge.
on your
Sorry,
front
Bob.
page contractual, last year you didn't have any money at all. This year you put 20,000. What will that be used for?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
20,000 on contractual.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That one was increased that much already. 16,000 of that is committed, and that was for the Women's Summit that we had previously, that was in November. And so there's almost $16,000 that is committed to River Spirits for the thing we put on in November. And so actually the 5,000 for seminars would be things where we were able to do some of the presumptive or even go out into our communities for different events for our promoting our veterans benefits. That's why it was so high. We already had them committed to the Women's Summit in November.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Huft. Are there any other questions from the committee? Any questions from council in attendance or online? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. Oh, I'm sorry. We need a motion.
Make a motion to pass.
Second.
Budget.
Motion and a second from Representatives Huft and Gouge. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Leonard Gouge.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. The
Thank
budget
you.
for Veterans Affairs is approved. Human Social Services. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, committee. Ooh, that's loud. Where would you like me to start?
Well, on our
Our
list,
first one is gaming.
Gaming, okay. So in gaming, there is one correction. It is on the, make sure I have the right line. Yeah, medical travel. If you recall, we recently revised medical travel. And per that legislation, the amount needs to be 200,000, not 120,000. And that's NCA 22-119.
thank you.
And then if you'll notice in our salary line item, we have requested 4 new positions. And those positions are case specialists and social worker and an energy worker. As you know, our tribal energy program continues to increase. And as you know, when we, in the very beginning, we get hit hard, we, takes us almost a whole month of like November to process the applications we received the first week of November. So if we could add an additional case specialist and also a supervisor, that will take away, because currently our social services supervisors are approving all the applications. So adding a supervisor would take that away from the social services supervisor, and they can just focus solely on energy applications. And then again, as you know, we all receive calls about, citizens and their assistance. So we would like to add an extra social worker. And then this is also a new position. I don't know if Secretary Carmen wants to speak to it, but the bereavement support liaison, someone to help the families during the times when they've lost their loved ones, just to help them to understand the resources, our program, what they're going to need to get the services, etc. So that's also a new position. And then other than that, everything else has stayed the same in gaming. I will speak to the salaries as well too. So based on discussions with leadership, we did offer salary increases, and this year we based it on more of a performance, years of service. So we made a scale, for instance, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, and adjusted salaries accordingly.
Is that it?
And, yeah.
Thank you. Are there questions from the committee for Ms. Hanawa? Hanawa? Yes, Ms. Killian.
So on the medical travel expenses, that should be 200,000?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to change your bottom total.
Yeah, that happened after we submitted our.
Representative Marshall.
Ms. Killian, you said that would increase, that would change the line, the total. Would that then become 5655, 140?
80,000.
We have 5535, 140.
Representative Gouge.
You perceive the raises to be on tenure or performance?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Attendance, basic attendance, and then we highlighted on the years of service. Last year, we tried to bring positions equal, like all caseworkers were this range, all social workers were this range. And now we took into consideration performance and years of service to Creek Nation.
Okay. My other question is the liaison. Can you explain again what that liaison will do?
Well, that's a new position. I believe it was requested so that we could have somebody, I know, for instance, over the weekend, there was a family that, lost a loved one. They didn't really know what to do. So hopefully this person will be the one that we will be able to send the citizens to, so should know all the resources, all the requirements for the social services programs, maybe even know what funeral homes will expect from families, and be able to help that family through this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gouge. Representative Gouge.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Yes, Ms. Killian.
We do need to go back and look at that, because according to the special appropriation, we did 200,000 out of interest on permanent fund, and then it says beginning with FY24 comprehensive annual budget, and annually thereafter. But that's coming out of interest on permanent. You'll have a special appropriation for 23 out of interest on permanent fund.
So we need to remove medical travel from gaming. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that it?
And it's coming from the permanent fund. Right, okay.
Representative Crawford.
With this new position, the liaison position, will that person be on emergency call after hours and on the weekends for?
I believe that's the intention, yes.
Okay.
And that will be, made clear to this person that accepts.
And will it be the same number as?
I'm not sure yet. It's new. We don't really know at the moment, but I can definitely come back after we get a little bit more footing on this particular position, and let you know and give you all an update on maybe the process and the procedures. Definitely give you all contact numbers if it's a different contact number.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Crawford.
Madam Chair, this is Sandy Golden.
Yes, Representative Golden, go ahead. You have the floor.
Ms. Hanawa, are there any other staff that would be available on emergency and on weekends for other services in social services besides the funerals and bereavement?
Well, currently, yes. The supervisors, the manager, and myself. The supervisors always list their numbers as emergency contacts, and the manager always lists her number as an emergency contact.
Okay. The second question is in regard to the energy assistance. You said November, the whole month of November, because it starts at the 1st. You get bombarded with applications, and then they kind of taper off the rest of the months.
Yes,
Okay.
Historically, the first 2, 3 weeks of November were hit really hard with applications.
And so you have how many staff that are already assigned to process those applications?
We have 2 in Okmulgee, 1 in SRO, and then 1 in Jinx.
And how many applications do they process in a day?
Oh, I don't know specifically in a day. I believe at my last report to Secretary Carmen, for like the first week of November, we had close to 2,000 applications.
And last question, are you still, if someone from Okfuskee or Tickabuchee District submits their applications to Okmulgee, are you still sending those back to SRO for them to process?
We currently will send it to the next available staff. It may not be, it may be SRO, but it may not be. Now, if they request to go to SRO, we definitely will send it to SRO.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Madam Representative Golden, are there other questions from council online or in attendance?
Madam Chair, Speaker Lowe.
Yes, Speaker, you have the floor.
Madam Chair. I'll wait till she gets back to the podium. Ms. Hanawa, currently, do you have an MBA working for your team?
We have a few, I believe, and we have some that are working on getting their MBA. Yes.
So the current MBAs,
Well,
what are their salary ranges?
I'm sorry, not a business, but we have social workers as well, so yes.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't different, given them a different salary. There's everybody is still in the same salary range.
Because I'm looking on here at this Schedule A and I see some, of course, salaries.
Mm-hmm.
But, as an HR background, I feel if you have an MBA, you should be compensated for receiving that
Right.
MBA degree. And I've seen it been in budget hearings this week where non-educated citizens are making in the 90s. And I think we really need to look at that because as a tribe, we value higher education. And I strongly feel we really need to support that. So that's all I need to say, Madam Chairman.
Madam Speaker, are there other questions from council in attendance or online? Hearing none.
The next one we have is general tax and license.
General taxes and license. Okay.
She's in trouble. She's the trouble. Something.
Is that for the 5 million?
Your burial emergency and school.
Yeah, that's just client services. So we have burial assistance. Those amounts didn't change from last year. Burial assistance and energy assistance, 2 line items.
And the last one's motor vehicle.
Motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is our school clothing program. I do have a question for finance on salary line. I found it in Budget Central under fiscal year tribe in NCA 22-1 version 2, but there is only 400. I'm sorry. It's just a little less than what we submitted. Is that because of the percentage? And then it will be the 100% once approved, right? Is that correct? Okay, so finance just confirmed that they have the budget that I submitted, so we're good. But again, salaries, there's some increases, again, based on the performance and the years of service. Other than that, the amounts remain the same.
You are making those decisions as to the salaries.
I'm sorry?
Are you making those decisions as to the salaries?
Myself and the managers we had our meetings, and across the board, we came up with our human services scale, so to speak, and considered all employees for it.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Sanawa? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please. I'm sorry, I need a motion to do pass.
April? So, sorry, self-governance, is that considered a federal budget, or? But it doesn't need to go? Okay. And then I also have the 1225 fund budget, which is burial assistance. Does that need approval? Okay, thank you. That was the only two I had questions on.
Okay, that's all we have. Is there a motion on the floor?
Madam Chair, make the motion that we do approve the social services budget.
We have a motion from Representative Huff to approve this budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Representative Gouge. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Leonard Gouch.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. The Human Social Services budget is approved.
Thank you.
Next is Senior Services.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair,
Good afternoon.
members of the committee, and also any National Council members online or here in the auditorium. I hope you can hear me. I'm kind of getting a frog in my throat. Which budget do you want to go with? Do you want to just start off with the senior
First one.
services?
Yeah,
That's our
senior
first
services
one.
gaming is what we got first.
Pardon?
Senior service gaming is what we got first.
Yes, okay. With the senior services, we have some changes to our budget, and primarily the changes that we're kind of looking at is the wages and the salary and wages. There are two other, a total of 3 reasons. One of the reasons is we had approval for a part-time seasonal position for our lawn mowing services. We had extreme difficulty in even getting anyone to interview for that position, and all the applicants were leaning towards a permanent position. So we would like to change that position to a full-time position instead of a part-time position. A second increase is we're wanting to create a new position. We're looking at possibly creating a position for the Elder Advocate Program. We'd like to have a manager position created. This would provide oversight, supervision for the Elder Advocacy Program, and to provide directives direction, training, and helping the elder advocates with their case assessments and service planning on an ongoing basis. Currently, I'm the person that does all of that, and it's very time consuming with all of the advocates needing to staff their cases with me, and I'm maybe involved with other programs. And so that was one of the reasons that we were asking for an increase there too. If you have access to the Schedule A, it reflects the new elder advocate position. And if you do not have access to that, I do have copies. And then the third reason that we're asking for an increase is in just a increase in salaries in general. The elder advocacy or the senior service workers have gone years as being one of the lowest paid department employees within the nation. And I really am proud of our workers. They are extremely prompt when it comes to response time. Their integrity when working with elders is needs to be commended. They are very conscientious of striving to work with each elder that they come in contact with. And I'm very, very proud of the workers and their efforts and on their performance evaluation. I believe that they have accomplished many tasks that have stabilized elders in their own home. And not only do they work with the elders, but they work with elders' families in trying to arrange for the appropriate level of care. They are very, very busy. And I know that they receive numerous referrals daily. And with our workers, they're actually out in the field most of the time. They go out to the home and assess individuals while they're in their home. I feel that this position does require extensive oversight by a manager, and our workers, they do all have various experiences in various fields, ranging from behavioral health, child protective services. They have their bachelor's degree and their master's degree. And I feel that we're paying them at a rate that is very, very low. As a result, many of the workers have to obtain public assistance just to even support their families. So those are the three reasons that we're asking for a wage increase for not only for the elder advocates, but also for the senior service maintenance workers. We did meet with leadership regarding the salary increases and went with the recommendation as given to us at that time. I welcome any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions from the committee for Ms. Fish?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Representative Marshall.
I have a couple of questions. On your elder advocates, about how many clients do you have? That's why you were asking that there was a need for an increase.
We've had over, I'd say over 100 and almost close to 200 workers per year. Mm-hmm. And that number is increasing. We're seeing an increase in the difficulty of cases because all adult issues are different, and a lot of these issues are really difficult and convoluted. So, and there may be multiple issues within that home, and each of the advocates do work with the elder as well as the family member. So it's it's difficult to really pinpoint to numbers because there's so many aspects to the position, and they have to work with various agencies and to even help them to determine the level of care that each elder is needing at that time, and to try to stabilize their situation as much as possible so that it doesn't get to the point where the person is being abused, neglected, or exploited. And if it comes to that time, then that referral would have to go to our adult protective services. And we strive to ensure that our elders are stable as long as possible. And we work with each of the elders to try to help them with their self-determination as to the care that they're receiving.
Okay, thank you. My
Welcome.
next question is, I see where you have 5 maintenance workers and a maintenance supervisor. So what do the maintenance workers do? Do you have that many buildings for them to take care of, or what exactly do they do?
The maintenance workers for, I'd say about 6 months out of the year, they spend a lot of time mowing elders' lawns, and they had approximately 325 participants this past year, and they mowed approximately 1,000 lawns throughout the season. They worked shorthanded because we were unable to fill our part-time position, and we had some instances where, due to medical issues, we've had some that were unable to work, and as a result, our workers were spread pretty thin this past summer. Also, we had issues with our equipment during the flood, damaged many of our equipment, and we had to wait until those were replaced or repaired. And so there were various factors that was causing us to not mow as much lawn as in previous years, but we strive to be prompt in trying to get out as soon as possible to get out to the homes to mow their lawns. And usually by the time we get out, the lawns are so huffubby, you know, they're really weedy, that it spends a little bit more time in cutting this grass. So then we're spending more time on elders' lawns than what we like.
Okay. And then one last question. Total, how many positions do you have within senior services?
I would
Is it
have
just
to
the
add
ones that
that
we're
up.
showing here?
Pardon?
Is it just the ones that we're showing on the Schedule A, or
Yes,
did I miss something?
yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Fish.
welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Marshall.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Representative Huff.
On the Schedule A, I noticed that all the maintenance workers, their new proposed salary is out of range. Will they be given a new grade or something?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
On the Schedule A, all the maintenance workers, their proposed salaries are out of their range, skill range, based on their skill right now.
Currently, we changed the range.
Okay.
It was a lot lower than what it is listed. And so we, with the proposed salary, we changed the ranges to fall within that salary range.
All right, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Representative Gouge.
For your elders advocates or any employees you have, does any of them speak Creek?
We have one who speaks some, and it has been very useful with some of our elders who primarily speak our language, and it has helped with establishing rapport and putting the elder at ease because they identify with this worker. And the other workers are beginning to learn and understand. We have a non-Muskogee individual who works with us, and he has been striving to learn more of the language and has even been recommending to some of the elders who aren't familiar with the language and has been encouraging them to start seeking online lessons through our language program.
Good, because that was my concern. Working with the elders and
Yes,
meeting their needs and putting them at ease, making the
yes,
language is helpful.
yes.
Not having somebody who can do that throughout the nation, because you may need that person in multiple places. Is there a plan to get an interpreter or something to assist you in that, or is there a need for that at the moment?
At this point, we have not had a need for an interpreter, but I visited some with our language program, and I believe that we would be able to seek their assistance if needed. I haven't really, this has been several months ago, might have been even over a couple of years that I had an opportunity to visit with them. Um, some of our workers do understand, however, they might speak broken Muskogee, just to insert our language in various sentences along with English to kind of help an elder to understand and to try to communicate with that elder.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Any questions from council in attendance or online?
Madam Chair, Speaker Lowe.
Yes, Speaker, you have the floor.
Hello, Madam Chair. Ms. Fish, how often do you run into our elders that need a sign language interpreter?
Not very often. What we're trying to establish at this point is a connection with an entity that assists with sign languages. Primarily when we run into that type of issue, the elder communicates via text, and so we're able to communicate in that
Great.
manner.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And Madam Chair, while I have the floor, I just want to say to you and your group, thank you so much. We hear great things from the elders and what your group is doing. So, Mado, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Hello, Speaker. Are there any other questions for Ms. Fish? Ms. Fish, how long?
Madam Chair, this is Mark Randolph.
Yes, Representative Randolph, you have the floor.
Thank you, ma'am. I would just like to say I've had the opportunity to work with the workers and advocating for our elders and all that, and they do a great job. I've been really impressed with everything. So I just want to say thank you to them and thank you for letting me speak.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Ms. Fish, how long have you had the lawn care program?
How long have we had the lawn program? Okay. I know that I started back in 2018. There was the previous supervisor, the director, maybe 2 years before that. I think they went back to maybe early 2000 maybe, or maybe possibly the late 1990s. So, but this program has really grown. I know that at one point when they first started, they used to use push mowers. Now we use zero-turn mowers, which is a lot easier than what the previous workers had to endure. And with the, I don't know whether any of you ever used a push mower, but I did when I was a summer youth. And my goodness, that was the hardest job that I ever had that summer. But it made me appreciate our workers and the weather conditions they have to endure. They're out in the heat. They're out in the cold. Right now, they're cutting wood and striving to provide wood services for our elders.
So the lawn care program that you provide, it's year-round?
The lawn care program is for about 6 months. It's from April 1st through September 30th. And then beginning in November through, I would say, February, we have the wood program.
You provide wood to citizens?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
To elders.
Okay, but this is separate from the communities, right? Some
This
communities
is separate
do have
from
lawn
the
care.
communities.
Okay, so,
It is.
So how do they get on your list? Do they contact you?
They call us. They call us, and or maybe a family member contacts us. They even send us emails or text messages, or just any way that if we become aware, maybe through a different department or even from this body here. I know that many referrals have come from this this council, and I appreciate everyone that does get in touch with us, and we strive to be as prompt as possible in assessing their situation and looking at how we can reduce risk and meet the elders' needs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Madam Chair, Sandy Golden.
Yes, Representative Golden, you have the floor.
Ms. Fish, could I ask on your other, in your budget, you have direct assistance for 30,000. What program is that?
With our direct assistance program, we usually assess an elder's need, and that direct assistance has helped with various needs, including needs that aren't provided by other programs. Let's say that an elder had exhausted this source, and so they usually come to us or refer to us, and we might be able to assist with utilities or shelter or even pest control. It just depends on the elder's needs. Some of them may not even have a bed, and they might be sleeping on the floor, trying to sleep in their chairs, or, and we try to help and try to stabilize that elder's situation so that they can remain in their home as long as possible.
So in your eligibility requirements, what's the ceiling amount that you allow to help that individual?
We go with the federal poverty level standards and look at a person's income and resources. However, if this individual does have a need, we do staff this the elder situation with our cabinet secretary, and if approved, we can probably assist that individual too, but it depends on their need and their income level. A lot of times we do help these individuals with services, and these individuals with income that's higher sometimes agree to go ahead and pay for the material, and then we arrange with other departments to help in meeting those needs. Example is ramps. We work a lot with different departments, and tribal construction is one of them. Sometimes the elders' income is significantly higher than the standards, and so the elder agrees to purchase the material, and the tribal constructions helps us with the construction of the ramps.
Okay. Well, and the reason that I ask is because sometimes our elders, they may be getting a little bit of income, including what they get on social services, and they're like a few dollars over the amount for commodities, and then they turn them down. And with the pandemic and and everything, they can't get their commodities, and it's really hard for them to make it month to month. And so that's why I asked the question about the direct assistance, because maybe that some of them that are in that situation could come to senior services.
Yes, we definitely look at all of their needs because every elder's needs is different. We take everything into consideration when we're determining whether we're able to assist or not. And it's true, the elders are on limited income, and I've heard people say, well, they have money coming in, but living in this economy at this time, that money doesn't go very far, and to have to purchase your food as well as pay all your ongoing expenses can deplete a person's income quickly. And so we look at all of these issues when we're determining whether we're able to assist or not.
Thank you for your understanding, and that's all my questions. Thank you, Ms. Fish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Representative Golden. You want to move on to adult protective services if there's no other questions?
Adult Protective Services is a very, very complicated program. Our Adult Protective Services, anytime we receive a report of abuse, neglect, or exploitation of our elders, our workers are assigned the case if the individual is a citizen of the Muskogee Nation. If the person is not a citizen of the Muskogee Nation, we make a referral to the state of Oklahoma Adult Protective Services. We work closely with that program. If we have an individual that has an allegation of abuse, neglect, or exploitation, and there could be multiple allegations. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's just only one and that's it. These workers are investigating anything from abuse or exploitation or self-neglect, or just a neglect by a caretaker. When its situation is such that it is an emergency situation and the individual, the elder, or the incapacitated adult lacks capacity to consent and to arrange for their own self-care or their own services, then we staff with our Attorney General's office to determine whether our workers need to provide involuntary services to obtain custody of these individuals, to arrange for the services and treatment that they may be needing. So it's very complicated, and we strive to work with the individual and try to ensure that their rights are respected and that the least restrictive services are in place.
Hello, Ms. Fish. Are there questions from the committee for Ms. Fish on adult protective services? Are there any questions from council in attendance or online?
Madam Chair, this is Sandy Golden.
Yes, Representative Golden?
I'd just like to ask Ms. Fish, when you said that you work with in those certain situations, you work with the AG's office to where that individual can't care for themselves. So it's not the state that takes over that guardianship, it's the tribe, the Muskogee Creek Nation that takes over that guardianship?
Not the guardianship. If there's a guardianship already in place, then that has already been established by a court. And we work with these guardians sometimes because maybe they may not be unfamiliar with various levels of care that the individual may be needing. The only time that we would look at involuntary services for these individuals that have a guardian is if the guardian was neglecting their fiduciary duties. Then at that point, we would have to refer them to the courts because the courts is the one that established the guardianship. If an individual has no guardian and yet may be in an imminent danger of serious physical harm or death, then at that point, then we're staffing with our Attorney General's office. And if that person lacks the capacity to consent, they have to meet both criteria before involuntary services could be established. They have to be in an emergency situation and lack capacity to consent to protective services.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, and that's what I was asking, because I know of such a case, and I think you guys are already involved. And the family, they have no guardianship of that individual, and so they were wondering about what do they do if that person, their loved one, can't take care of herself, but who's going to step in and do it for her?
anytime there are any concerns about any elder or incapacitated adults ages 18 on up, anyone can make a report to the Adult Protective Services, and we will look at each referral and determine whether it meets our criteria to initiate an investigation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Hello, Representative Golden.
The only other changes that we made to the APS program is to increase the salary as well as create a new position for an APS program manager. And basically it's similar to the senior service. The reasons are similar to the senior service. I believe that a manager is needed to have oversight over the program to do some thorough staffing with each of the workers.
That it? Okay, thank you, Ms. Fish.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions on this position, I skipped over the Social Security Liaison position, which we also have for your office.
The Social Security program has been moved from the Elder Services and transferred to Social Services or Human Resources or Human Services. I get those mixed up sometimes.
Human Services.
Human Services.
Did you have anything else to say on that position?
Ms. Hahn was coming down.
Ms. Hanawa will address this.
Hello.
You have the floor.
So yes, Social Security Assistance Program has been transferred under the direction of Human Services. Currently, we have 2 employees. If you'll see, we have 1 vacant position, and then I believe we're requesting a new position for fiscal year 23. You'll also see that they've added some contractual, and I believe that is to hire a paralegal or some type of a legal contract to go with this citizens to court. Because I don't know if you're aware, but when they go to court and they have their own attorney, that lawyer gets to keep a certain percentage of their award. So am I correct? Okay, so with hiring or contracting, then that citizen can keep all of their claim, all of their award, and we will just be paying the legal staff to represent. And I believe that is the only changes from fiscal year 22. Angela may be able to help me out. This was her program last year, and we're like we said, we're transitioning over to Human Services. Yeah. Okay, there are some salary increases as well based on performance, I believe, and actually, yes, I can speak to this. They do have, like I said, currently we have 2, and they handle all of the inquiries, and those inquiries come from all over. They don't strictly stay within Creek Nation federal boundaries. They come from all over.
Did you have anything to add, Ms. Fish?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Carmen?
Madam Chair, can I add
something
to this one?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason that we decided to make this transition, it was underneath Elder Services, but we recognize that we may have our younger population who are recipients of Social Security. And so in order for us to serve all citizens, we thought that moving it out from underneath Elder Services and placing it underneath Human Services was a better fit. And that way we can serve children as well.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the committee on these positions?
Madam Chair, this is Sandy Golden.
From the committee, please. From the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. for whoever can answer the question. I know you're in a transition time, but how many cases did y'all have from the time it's transitioned from there and it's going to human services now?
I would say over 200. Um, they are constantly on the phone, calling and talking with someone. And some of these cases, that's just probably the intakes. Now, they do have other cases that's still pending at this point, and they're also working with those individuals. So their caseload could even be up into maybe 500 for all I know. I know that, if a citizen doesn't respond to some of their requests, then after a certain time frame, then they do close out the case. But the citizen does, if they have any questions or want to reapply, they can always call the office back and make that application again.
Okay. And then also, this Social Security liaison, how do you envision that to be?
I believe that's just the name of the budget name.
Oh, okay.
I call it the Social Security Assistance Program.
Oh, I thought it was a position.
And they're case managers. Those, we don't have a specific liaison. I don't know if Patricia knows why it's Social Security liaison, but it's the Social Security Assistance Program.
Oh, okay. So it's not a person that's
No,
physically going to
then we have
occupy
the case
position.
managers,
Okay,
and those
well,
are the staff that work and take the
okay.
applications.
Okay, well, thanks for that clarification. So you basically have a pretty large caseload, and so you are going to increase your department.
Yeah, we have one vacancy currently
Okay.
for a case manager, and then we are increasing by one staff, and then hopefully contracting with a legal person to go to represent in court.
Okay, I see where you show that it's $50,000.
Yes.
Is that going to be enough for a paralegal to do like 200 cases? I mean, if you have 200 cases and they all require paralegal assistance.
I know they had this program in the past, and that was what was given or allowed was the 50,000. I believe it was former Representative Jennings who made this recommendation, so we just kind of went along with his recommendation, and it was always 50,000. So I'm sure that with the cost of legal expenses and things of that nature, if the line item needs to be increased, I think it would be beneficial to each of the clientele that would be having a need for this level of service.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Marshall. Are there other questions from the committee? Are there questions from council in attendance? Are there questions from council online? Representative Golden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize. Ms. Representative Marshall asked the question about contractual, and that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions, I will entertain a motion on the floor for this budget.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the elderly budget and also the Social Security services under Human Services, Human Development also.
We have a motion on the floor from Representative Huff to approve the budget.
Second.
Second by Representative Gouge. Roll call vote, please.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Mary Crawford,
Yes.
Hannah Marshall,
Yes.
Leonard Gouge.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. These budgets are approved. Inga.
Food distribution.
The next order is food distribution.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So we'll start with food distribution. As you can see, there was not any dollar amount change. It was all within the budget when we were asked to increase all employees to at least $15 an hour. So
Could you
therefore, the
stop?
money.
Could you state your name for those
I'm
that are
sorry.
listening? That's okay. That's okay.
Anna Sterner.
Anna Sterner.
Yes,
Thank
I'm the Director of Food Services.
Anna, the only budgets we got are your gaming and your food distribution. We don't have any Schedule A's or anything.
You don't have what?
We don't have your Schedule A's or anything. All we have is your gaming and your food distribution. So we don't have Schedule A's or anything.
Okay, I have a match. So is that not, should I not be discussing this one?
No. Most of the managers money. Continuing resolution. This has to do her gaming money and her.
I apologize. So we're just doing the match. So all of the salaries comes from the federal part. So she said that you should have the program income and my gaming. Do you have that?
Yeah, we got
Okay.
your gaming.
Okay, I'm sorry. So that's the only part then that we need to go over, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there were not any changes.
No changes. Are there any questions from the committee for Ms. Sterner? Any questions from council in attendance or online? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
I make a motion that we approve the budget for food distribution.
We have a motion on the floor from Representative Marshall for approval of this budget. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Huff. Roll call vote, please.
Anna Marshall,
Yes.
Leonard Gouge,
Yes.
Robert Huff,
Yes.
Mary Crawford.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
4 in favor and 0 against. The food distribution budget has been approved. Thank you.
Did we want?
Next budget is research, community research and development. Good afternoon, Ms.
Good
Billy.
afternoon, Madam Chair, committee members. I'm Diana Billy with Community Research and Development. I think all my budgets are gaming.
We got gaming first.
The budget for Community Research and Development first.
Yes.
Okay. This budget, there was just increases in the salary. Part of it was bringing employees up to $15 an hour. And I have a position for program manager, and he's been the site manager, the program supervisor, and promoting him. And that salary I took from the Attorney General's, the attorney, contract attorney's salary line item. And then the other salary was just for increased, increase of duties and
Miss Billy, can you speak up, please? We have committee members that cannot hear you. Please speak up.
I'm sorry, what?
Speak into the microphone.
Do you have any questions?
Are there questions for Miss Billy from the committee? You might have to go back over that because we could barely hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Basically, it's the same. There's some increase in salaries because of bringing the employees that were not at $15 an hour to $15 an hour. And the community program supervisor, I'm promoting to program manager and increasing his salary. And that amount I took from the contract attorney's salary. And then the other increase is because of years on the job and increase in duties.
Other questions for Miss Billy from the committee? Are there questions from council in attendance or online?
Madam Chair, this is Sandy Golden.
Yes, Representative Golden.
Ms. Billy, you said that all of your staff, they got increases, except there's two of the maintenance workers that didn't get increases. So did they got increases last year or some other time? That's why their salary is the same?
They did not get increases, and the increases that were given was because they made less than $15 an hour, so it was bringing all the employees up to $15 an hour, and then the one other one that was just at $15 an hour. He had been here for several years and a really good employee, so he got an increase, but the others did not increase.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Hello, Representative Golden. Are there any other questions for Miss Billy?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Representative Gouge.
Thank you. What is the difference between a field specialist and a community specialist?
Field specialist is one that goes out in the field. He's the main guy that goes and troubleshoot. He's the main person that goes out and troubleshoots anything at the community that needs repairing, air conditioners, freezers, refrigerators.
So he's sort of a maintenance person also?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's just not a maintenance person, though. He's got skills. He works on air conditioners. He works on furnaces. Does flooring. He's done flooring for some of the communities, and lace floors and paints, and
okay.
So you just got a little bit more skill set than. And they all have a lot of skill sets. They all have a lot of different. All these maintenance guys have
things that they specialize in. One paints, you know, and the others just, they all know how to run any kind of heavy equipment there is, and they all help whenever we have an emergency here and work with facilities and